going to be one for the record books. Oh, here we go. Little ambiance.
This is my candlelight vigil.
Ah.
For the end of Marvel.
Oh no.
Let the eternal flames go into the air.
You lighten that pack, huh? You lighten the death of Marvel
this is
pack.
It. I think this is my ceremonial end of an era. You will be missed.
Wow.
And as I blow out this flame, there will go Marvel. I'm killing this.
Well, I thought the movie was pretty fucking dope. So, here we go, baby!
Oh my Lord. You're bullshitting me. I don't even believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. I think you're lying.
It's not fucking great. It's not fucking great. It's not 48%. It's fucking pretty good. It's pretty good, and I don't care who knows it. I don't care who knows it.
That's a thumbnail. that is, I don't, wow. I'm gonna tear you to shreds. I'm gonna tear you to shreds.
Let's go, baby. No, it'd be better if I liked it and thought it was good. Then we could have a better argument. I'm not saying it's a great film. There's a lot to talk about, but I thought it was fine. I think it's such an overreaction. There's idiots online that are like lighting candles and holding seances for the end of Marvel. These fucking overreactors. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And what do you want to talk about, Keith? Lead us in. We're talking about Eternals.
Eternals, welcome to this shit show.
It's gonna be a shit show.
The major issue, I think, with this film is that they're trying to do too much. They're trying to do too much, and they're trying to do it too quickly. The two main things that jump out to me as to why I did not like this film is there are too many characters that they're trying to that they're trying to introduce that I cannot invest into. It's just too much for me. I'm trying to still learn who these people are. And that coupled with another extinction level event. Everything cannot be the end of Earth. It just can't be, because there's only so many times you can go to that well. And I just had this emotional roller coaster that led up to this extinction level event that just happened, that I loved, that we all loved. And now we're right back here with the 2 out of the 3 movies, the Phase 4 films after Thanos. 2 of them have extinction level events. 2 is just like the end of the world is coming. And I just can't emotionally invest in these characters because there's too many of them. There's too much going on. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to catch up. Who's this guy? Why do I care? And it's another thing I have to be like, this is the end of the world. It's too much. It's too much. And the whole movie, I sit there and I go, why do I care? Why do I care? Why do I? It became like a labor. It became a labor for me to invest. And I just go, I can't. I just couldn't. I couldn't.
That's funny. That's how I felt about Dune. It was like that it became a labor.
Yeah.
This movie never became laborious for me anyways, but I do think that is the most like valid universal criticism of the film. Like it's just a problem. It's a problem that you have your team of 10 or 12 heroes or whatever, or 10, and other people that you're supposed to be introduced to. But it's not just that there's so many characters, although that would be a problem in of itself. And it's not just that it's an extinction level event again, which is another problem in of itself. It's that they're literally creating, it's like the story of creationism. You know, it's so like you could not get deeper and bigger if like in the MCU of the lore.
Yeah.
That, no, we're not just introducing 10 main characters and this huge conflict that they have to deal with. We're also going to try to explain to you like the Genesis, like the Bible. You have to get all this information So that was just too much. It was too tall
too
of a
much.
task.
It's too much.
It should have absolutely been at least 2 films. The ending of this film should have been the sequel of another
Correct.
of a 2-part series, you know.
Correct.
Or like as I've heard many people say, make it a series on Disney Plus.
I mean, that's the easiest.
And have the time to get into these characters.
Yeah.
But I totally think that it would have worked as 2 films the way, again, Dune is going to do it, where you spend this time setting the stage and you maybe get to know some of these characters. I have some really great ideas for how that could have been structured, but
they just crammed in these 2 stories that to me should have been 2 stories. the first being the deviants, right? Mm-hmm. The deviants and variants. I'm starting to get messed up, but
yeah.
The deviants and the them fighting them off, and the first movie should have ended where they break up. Like, that just seems very easy, and then they go on their own way. And then the second movie, a year from now, 4 years from now, whenever we come back, is them bringing the team back together and them figuring out the twist that we figured out in the first half hour.
Yeah. I would have liked a movie that was like Richard Madden and Gemma Chan, who Cersei and Icarus.
Yep.
Like, it's just their movie.
Yeah.
And we just get to know them and get to know their love story and why that's so important.
Sure.
And we're just following them throughout this entire film as they go on this kind of smaller adventure where maybe they have an attack of conscience and they intercede in a human conflict and they feel really bad and they think they're going to get in trouble with the Celestials or whatever. But they go through this adventure together, and periodically throughout, you meet some of these other characters, or they are alluded to, and you start to meet some of these people. And then the second one, like you're saying, you bring them all together, and they go on their big adventure. That would make a lot more sense.
So I can't. I did not care when Salma Hayek dies because I don't know her. I don't know her, and she's the leader. She's spoilers. She's the leader. She's the heart and soul. She's everything, you know. Like, and she dies in the first 35 minutes, and I go, who is she again? Why do I? Yeah.
My sweet Salma.
And when I love that there's consequences. I love that there's things that have that other guy, the guy with the fists or whatever. I forget people's names. Forgive me, but he dies too, and that's another emotional moment. But that guy had how much screen time did that guy have? Like, I don't care. These are supposed to be big, powerful moments. How am I supposed to care? How am I supposed to feel about this if I just met this person?
Yeah, totally. That's why I'm saying it's not a great film. Like, because that is a huge, a huge flaw, right? That's like that it's built off of.
I don't understand why Marvel is going against, and I've said this before on other episodes, but I'm going to say it again. They're going against their bread and butter and what I believe got them here, and they are trying to express this. This movie was, I think, the biggest example of them just trying to get back to that buzz of Infinity War, that buzz of Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, where we're just trying to just ram all these things and make everybody awesome and amazing, and they're just trying to get to the end again. And I don't understand why this first go-round, I just keep saying that Infinity War saga took 22 movies. It was years and years, and bit by bit, it was slowly. It was a TV show of movies.
Yeah.
And now it's just no. We need to do X, Y, and Z, and it looks like they have a checklist. It just looks like they have a checklist to me, and I don't know why they're trying to express it, get in the express lane, and just be like, we need to get to the end. Why? Yeah. Why?
Well, there's so much to say. It's so hard because you say something, I think of 5 things I want to say, and then I lose them all. But the one thing I'll say quickly is, I think it's interesting you say that because I want to talk about this later, is that it's sort of like a checklist, because that's one of the things I liked about this movie, is that it felt like it was at least trying visually or creatively, probably Chloe Zhao, to be different. Like, it didn't feel like a Marvel movie to me for a lot of it. And that was very refreshing. And I feel like that's one of the other valid complaints that gets levied at the MCU films all the time, is that they are so checklisty. They're so formulaic. And that's why I don't like a lot of those movies, even the ones that are kind of funny and like Ant-Man and those like it's just like what the fuck ever, like it's just basic. This movie it felt for most of it like it was trying to be something different, and maybe you don't like what that thing is, and we can pick apart specifics of the structure, which are valid. But I liked that there was at least what I recognized as an attempt to be unique within this construct. The other thing, the much bigger conversation is, to your point about Marvel kind of rushing to get to the next big thing or whatever. I mean, it's ironic because I think this is going to be what contributes to the downfall of this cinematic universe, is them not willing to be, or seeming to not be willing to be patient enough to build these things out slowly again.
Yeah.
And if ever there was a time to do that, it's right now, because we're so because the Marvel world has become so crazy within these films, where it's like, oh, okay, so now there's like so much to try to keep track of, and there's so many like earthly crazy or outworldly crazy developments, and there's timeline variants, and there's just all these things that are like really huge level things. It's gonna implode on itself. And that's just an inevitability, because you can't just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's just like, okay, none of this makes sense. Like, you're going to introduce the Fantastic Four, you're going to introduce X-Men, you're going to introduce, dozens of other main beloved characters. How is that all going to make sense in the same? It's just not. It's already getting convoluted.
Yeah.
So you should pace these out
better,
differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Take your time. We're all going to see it. We're going to go along with it. It's everything. Yeah. It's going to be a blockbuster. Like, no one's not going to go see it. But if you keep going down this road, to exactly your point, like, it can't just keep growing upon itself. It has to go down. It has to be like the stock market. It has to go up. It has to go down. It has to go like it.
Yeah.
It just,
because even the valleys of that are going to be, your movie makes $500 billion.
Yeah, it's a no-lose situation.
It's gonna do fine.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
500 million, I know, not billion.
I almost wish this movie had less action in it. And maybe that's
for sure.
Maybe that's a weird take.
For sure.
Well, I'm glad you agree, but I kind of found myself wanting to have it not just be so grand and like, just give me some time with these people in a quiet space, like the 500 BC or whatever, like those early years. Like, let me be here for a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? Let's get weird. I was thinking, like, you know what I want to see from Marvel? You know what would be like the greatest Marvel film of all time right now? Is a movie that comes out that we see a trailer for it, and it's Marvel, and you don't know anything about it. You don't know who the fucking characters are that are in it. You didn't get casting news, and you just see some guy. And the movie is just about this guy. And for an hour, it's like a drama. And it's just like this like in-depth drama where you're like, I'm talking good though. Like a good good film.
It's a good one.
Like this great film for an hour that's like a family drama or trying to figure your shit out, and it's just like riveting. And then in the third act, he's like, oh yeah, and claws come out of his hands. It's Wolverine. And you have no idea, and he just starts like killing everybody because he's reached it. And then it's like the payoff of that. Like, I know this is not big budget blockbuster, the norms, but like that's what filmmaking should be, is surprise you, and that's like build you up towards those moments to make you pay off. And we were talking about Shang-Chi, is like, why did we need to see the fucking bracelets in every scene doing damage? Why couldn't those have just been glowing under someone's jacket the whole movie? And you're just at the edge of your seat like, oh my God, at some point. And then it happens. And then that action is really earned.
Yes.
And it really releases, you'll get the same amount of dopamine, you fiends. Like, it'll be great. There's just never, it's just not gonna be like that. But to me, again, this is what this movie was at least trying to do, something different, something a little artistic. And I think that we should reward that in however way you want to do that. Like, the fact that this is what terrifies me, is this movie is now the lowest rated Marvel film, which is fucking stupid, because I'll give you 5 or 6 that are worse off the top of my head. And what that's going to tell Feige and the rest of the people at Marvel is, okay, go back to the very specific checklist. We need clear-cut good and clear-cut evil, and we need this, and we need this, and we need this. And that's that. And then there's going to be no fucking chances taken. Because this movie at least takes a couple of chances, and in a world of vanilla sameness, at least there's that. And so I know that's a low bar. But when I watch movies like this, I watch and I wait for it. I'm like waiting consciously for it to do something stupid that loses me. Because they all do eventually. It doesn't mean I'm going to hate the movie, but it's like, oh, okay, well, that's fucking stupid. Like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And this movie almost did that like 4 times, but it never did. And towards the end, it kind of subverted my expectations a few times, where it kind of caught me off guard. Where I was like, oh shit, okay. I don't think it's flawless, but like, at least I'm engaged.
I just I mean, I don't know if I'm being too nitpicky. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, the people who like this film.
Hold back, baby. Nobody likes this film.
But
I'm on an island here.
When you talk about like doing things where it loses me, I mean, I can name a handful of times where I literally like throw my hands up and I go, really? Come on, fuck. The moment, and this is nitpicky, and I do want to get into some nitpicky things because I think some things are really stupid.
I got a whole list.
But the thing that jumps out to me when you say, oh, this just blows my mind, is when Cersei comes and she goes, oh, I still got that magic. You want to become human?
Oh.
You can't fucking tell me. You can't tell me that that's not like, well, what are we doing? What is the point of anything?
That was insane. It was insane.
I got that magic. You wanna be real for a minute?
Hey, by the way, that magic that I just don't completely understand.
That I just
know
learned.
that I'm able to transform you into a human. That's so stupid. It's so stupid. But the other thing that I've said many times, or at least every time we've talked about a superhero film, is they all get stupid in the third act.
This was fun!
They can't help it. It is indicative of the genre.
But you liked it. That's what I don't understand, is you said you liked the third act. It subverted your expectations or some shit like that.
Yeah, almost entirely.
You're
that part I thought was really stupid, the magic thing. I think it's really stupid that Kingo is not in the third act for the climactic battle. Let's come back. And I think it's really stupid that they just forgave Sprite for her transgression. I think that's insane. And I think it's stupid that Kit Harrington is just like, hey, by the way, I come from a pretty crazy family history too. And it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's okay. I rescind my claim that it never did anything stupid.
Thank you.
It did all of the stupidest things in like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it did. Yes.
I thought up through that I was on board. Until they started trying to wrap things up, because that's when superhero movies get a little dicey, where they're just like, we gotta do something.
That's brutal. That all those things that you named. Yeah, there's so many. Just yeah. It was just infuriating. A lot of infuriating moments.
Kingo not being in the third act is like a lower degree, a much lower degree, because we don't have movies and movies of investment in him, of what they did with Hulk in Endgame. Where they're just like, oh, we built this up. I don't feel like it.
Yeah. Just on his own accord. On like, yeah.
And then he's just there at the end like, well, we all did what we thought was right.
And that's what I was like, I kind of forgot about it. And then he shows up after the big bite. I was like, where the fuck were you? Like, how does he not show up at the end and be like, I couldn't leave you guys alone?
Yeah, save the day. And take his fucking shirt off. He's been working out like crazy.
I know. That was another thing. I just felt so bad for him, is that he got all ripped. For what?
Yeah. Feel bad for him that he's in like better shape than anybody. I think he'll be okay. I think he's gotten his shine.
But if you know better than anyone, if you got in that good a shape, if Ev Duran gets in that good a shape,
I would not have had a shirt on.
You wouldn't have had a shirt on, and they were probably like, no, keep the shirt on.
Like, no. I'll fucking leave this film. I'm not putting my shirt on.
You're taking that shirt off. Taking that shirt off.
I haven't had a beer or like a cookie in 3 years.
Just grilled chicken for fucking 2 years.
Yeah. No, that was really stupid. But then I thought after the fact, I wonder if that was more of the intentional subverting of expectations, where they're like, well, what we're going to do is we're going to set it up like he's going to come back to have a big heroic moment, but he just doesn't.
It just doesn't.
And won't that be unique and different? But I honestly bet that's what it was. But it's like, okay, that is a poor use of subverting someone's expectations. Because that's just that's a miss.
Do you know for a hot second, I dislike the movie so much that at the end, I was rooting for them to lose. Because there was a brief moment where I thought to myself, how dope would this film be if they lose and Earth ends, and they have Earth fucking end in this movie, and they have to figure out something where where now Marvel has to recreate Earth somehow, where what hole has Marvel dug themselves into where they now cleverly, intelligently, hopefully have to get their way out of. What happens? Iron Man's fucking dead. Captain America's dead. Hulk is dead. But Thor could still be alive. You could still Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's people in space are still alive, and you can bring in the Silver Surfer and a couple other heroes.
Yeah, and then how do you get out of that? I don't know. There's just a massive reset, and maybe it has something to do with Loki and the multiverse and
the timelines,
timelines and Kang and all that shit that's coming up. For a moment towards the end, because I was like, maybe they fucking lose. Maybe they lose. And I was super into it. Then I was rooting for it. It's yes. No. Come on, Icarus. Figure this out.
Yeah. Another major flaw for this film that I claim to like, and maybe it's probably true to comics or the comics or whatever, but the fact that they were robots or androids or however we want to overly simplify their synthetic android organisms is fucking stupid, and that to me, if anything, makes this movie pointless.
What would you to have them be robot? You want them to be people? What do you want them to be?
Yeah. I don't then what the fuck? Who cares? That's kind of how I feel. It's who cares if they're just fucking robots, and then that fact alone that they've introduced now opens the film up for more criticism to me. Because it's okay, so the Celestials created these robots to go fight. I saw on another YouTube show, I think it was maybe the pitch meeting.
And these Eternals were created by Celestials to go fight deviants.
That's right.
And why not give them each all the powers?
Unclear. So anyway.
And then, that's a pretty fair point.
It's a great point.
And I thought, why would you make them susceptible to emotion?
But love, yeah.
What gain do you have by doing that? Why would you make them fall in love? Why,
Yeah. Why would they have sex?
Yeah, exactly. Why would they have sex? The whole thing is just...
How do they have sex? They're not people. Why would
Well, a lot of people fuck robots, Keith. You gotta get on board. Robots be fucking. Hashtag.
Robots be fucking.
You're beautiful.
Thank you, Theodore.
This is the first Marvel movie I wish I didn't see. When I was leaving the theater, I was like, I didn't need to see that. I didn't need to go through I didn't need to go to the theaters and spend my money. And I could have, and nothing happened in a bigger scale in the sense of, if I miss this, then I miss on this piece that will be. There was no.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think all that fucking the two post-credit scenes are going to be pretty influential.
We can talk about it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Fucking Harry Styles.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they know what they were doing. Monique.
Yeah.
It's we'll do it now.
No, it's not a good decision. It's not a good decision. You make that decision because you're trying to sell tickets.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna fucking work.
Yeah, I know, but do you? I'm trying to think of a comparison. Does that make you feel good that they're just selling out? You're just buying into the sellout?
Selling out? It's Disney, Keith. It's Marvel. They're selling out. They have some sort of creative integrity right at this point.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out.
Yeah, they're the real pinnacle of independence.
Yeah.
It's people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Walt Disney was a creative genius, and he would not stand for this.
That's true.
One
he
Direction.
Also was not fond of the Jews. So, Keith,
we're not
Team Disney, apparently.
Take down the
Classic-
statues.
The return of alt-right Keith.
Well, now I have to edit this episode.
Okay, let's talk about some positivity.
Positivity. You can start.
Number one, this film might have included my favorite sequence of any Marvel film of all time.
What's that?
And that would be the logo and the opening set to Pink Floyd's Time. Pink Floyd, my favorite band of all time. And Time, one of my 2 or 3 favorite Pink Floyd tracks of all time. And in the very beginning, as soon as the little like come in, I like started elbowing Monique. I was like, it's oh my god, it's Pink Floyd. And then the fucking logo comes in. And so seeing the Marvel logo take shape while Time is playing, I got the chills from head to toe, and 13-year-old me was really very excited. I was like, so let's be honest, that's why I like this movie, because it started so high.
Yeah, so high for you.
That I was like, okay, this movie's perfect. I'm gonna ignore any flaws.
Yeah.
Brilliant, loved it. I thought in no particular order here. I thought the performances were mostly pretty good, and that goes a long way. There's only a couple people that stood out to me as being not so great, but I thought the leads were very good. I thought they started I was a little nervous. Like everyone started a little dry. Like, oh, the Earth is beautiful, isn't it? Yes. You know, I was like, oh, they're just gonna be like robotic as fuck this whole time. But they really, yeah. They really kind of opened up, and I thought most people did really well. I think Richard Madden is an exceptionally talented actor. Icarus. I, like most people with a pulse, love Richard Madden and love Kit Harrington from Game of Thrones, because they were just, beloved characters. And I love seeing him in this big kind of movie star role. I thought he killed it. There's a lot of he does this really great like almost crying thing when he turns and he's the heel and he's the villain. He shows up and he's like threatening them, but he's like, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna fucking kill you all. Like I really thought that was a really great scene by him. I thought Gemma Chan, the lead Cersei, was very good. It got better as it went. And yeah, I thouh most people were fine. I thought Angelina, I don't know that that's a role for her.
This I knew we were going to have this conversation. I think it's one of the biggest misuses of someone and their talent and their stature.
Hello.
She had nothing to do. She had nothing to do by design. Why would she accept that role? Why would you?
Is that a question?
But make her somebody. She didn't do anything.
But she'll be back. Angelina, you're 50 some odd years old. You want to come be the sexy goddess of war in the Marvel universe for the foreseeable future?
Sure, you're talking about other things. And this role, she did nothing. I was so disappointed. I'm waiting for her, kind of like a Hulk moment, to continue to reference that fucking nightmare. Waiting for her to like have a big moment, show me why she's this.
She sliced that CGI monster into 1,000 pieces.
Shit, like that moment was not that wonderful.
No, they thought that moment.
They thought that was like
cool.
Oh yeah, she showed him and she got revenge on the guy that she.
On the CGI monster that we don't know.
That we don't really
about.
care, and all of a sudden can talk, but like. None of those big moments hit. In my opinion, I keep going back to story, and we're going to talk about positive things, and I'm sorry, but none of those big moments. We're going to
be over.
None of those big moments hit, in my opinion. None of them.
For the most part, I think I agree with you. So yeah, I didn't love Angelina, and I didn't think. I'm sorry, I never like insulting actors. Certainly not young actors. I didn't think Sprite did a very good job. I thought Sprite was a little hit and miss at best with some of those deliveries. But yeah, liked all that. Let's see what else we have on the old notes. Oh yeah, just as I watched it, it felt like it could be more of a standalone film, especially for maybe the first act, until they got, that there was that really forced dinner conversation where they're all talking about the Avengers, where it's like, obligatory fucking bullshit, just cut this out of here. Like, without that, it almost didn't even need to be a Marvel film, which is something I think I said earlier. It felt like it could be like its own unique sci-fi story, which got me really excited.
I was gonna say that. I think it's interesting that you say that you felt that too. because I almost felt like this is not a Marvel movie. Because I wasn't familiar with any of these people. It had nothing to do with anything coming, like,
Yeah.
the past movies or moving forward outside of the post-credit scenes. It felt different. It looked different. I couldn't agree more. I almost wanted it to be a different movie.
Yeah, but so that has to be a positive, right? Did you interpret that as a positive?
I don't know, only because, I mean, you could look at it as a positive, but I only choose to focus on the negative. That's who I am. The thing I love about these movies is how they're all connected. So that's a big miss for me for this franchise. It's hard for me to separate for this movie because that's what I want.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because I don't know, that feels a little at odds with just the general complaint of everything. If you're gonna, like this, it can't all be interconnected all the time, or it's gonna get redundant, and that's what's happened with Marvel films. Is it's just fucking like all this stuff is shoehorned in all the time to try to, oh yeah, reference so and so, reference so and so.
Not just like
name
reference,
dropping.
have like meaning. Like this is like it's their problem to have. It's like, oh no, I made too much money. What do I do with it? Like, it's your
Yeah,
problem.
but you want them to slow play it, right? You want the stories to be like
Yeah.
slow played and building. Then that's going to mean a lot more isolated stories. You know what I mean?
Sure, but for example, going back to the only reference that I have is the Infinity Saga or whatever. Like, not every movie was so specifically interconnected, but they all had to do with the Infinity Stones. Every
Yeah, I
film
gotcha.
had that piece, that connective tissue, where you go, oh, I get that. I remember that from that little film over there. Like,
Yeah.
this has none of that. None of that.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I'm looking for.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, just the quick things about the subversion of expectations. Maybe people think I'm stupid because I don't see this stuff coming because I don't look for it. I've said that before. I'm not trying to figure shit out when I'm watching a movie. I'm trying to zone out and just be led and take because that makes the movie watching experience more enjoyable for me. So I liked Icarus's turn. I liked that he was the villain. I'm not comparing the films, the quality of the films, because I think Watchmen is a really great film. Zack Snyder's Watchmen from the late aughts. But similar vibes there in the sense that, like, you know, one of their own is actually the villain. And I just liked all of that. That it's like he's a villain, but you know, you could kind of see his point of view where he's trying to come from. In fact, Kingo, who's maybe the most beloved character, does see his view, and that's why he takes off. Like, there's that, you know, I think one of the complaints is that the villain here was so forgettable, that Crow, whatever, that deviant that could talk now all of a sudden. But to me, he wasn't even the villain.
He wasn't the villain. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like the villain. The villain was sort of like the call is coming from inside the house. It's within your own team, and the villain is yeah, he's a villain because he killed Salma. But like otherwise, he's just you know, he just has a different outlook on things, and you're trying to figure out the right way to go about your existence. And I think that the movie was trying to touch on something there, but it did, you know, it caught me enough off guard where I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I also expected that the Barry Keogh, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, the gentleman who played Druig, because he's always kind of a creepy villainous dude in a lot of stuff, and I think the comics set him up from stuff I've watched beforehand that character is a little more
Villainous.
you know, yeah, he becomes a villain here and there. And so I thought it was really trying to set you up to think he was going to be the threat. And then, you know, no, it's actually super handsome Superman guy.
Yeah.
Like that was good. I liked that.
I like that too. This movie, I think, did a good job at not having one singular focus. Where that probably doesn't come out. I'm not probably saying that's correctly. But there was just multiple layers of conflict and things coming from all different angles. It wasn't just, oh no, we have to stop so-and-so from doing this one thing. How do we do it? There was internal conflict that was tearing the team apart. There was the god and his, or whatever, the celestial or whatever, his whole, like, how do they fit into this much bigger story, and then the deviants, what their roles into it wasn't just one train moving in one direction forward with a single roadblock in front of it. it was going left and right, up and down in a
Yeah.
good way. I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like that was Chloe. What's her last name again?
Zhao?
Zhao.
I give it a little extra zhuzh. I don't know if you're supposed to.
Chloe-
I don't think it's just Zhao. It's not Zhao. It's like Zhao.
Zhao.
Yeah, I think.
And I feel like, because she's credited as a screenwriter as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were gonna bet, I bet that nature, what I'm trying to poorly explain, I bet that was partly her touch, or her driving factor to sort of add not so singular focused, moving, like, we got to do this one thing, and that's the thing we're all trying to do. That internal conflict. It was funny because you also bring up the villain. I was talking to my buddy Kevin. Shout out to Kevin, who's a big fan of of the show. He'll be watching when this airs. Hello, Kevin. Say hi to me for once, you prick. Anyway, I talked to him on the phone earlier today. He hasn't seen the movie, and he asked me. He's like, "Oh, who's the villain? Who's the bad guy? What's the deal?" And my answer was, they all are. That they're like, the spoiler alert is they're the villain. The heroes of the film, they are the villain, and they just handle it different ways. Each one have a different interpretation of, like, kind of what that means to them, knowing that they're the bad
Which is
guy.
a fascinating concept.
Which is a great concept. Yeah.
So the movie was trying, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why I'm giving it more credit than it perhaps deserves. But that's really, like, it tried. I got, like, that's what I said. I mentioned Watchmen, which is a superior film, a far superior film. But there was that kind of energy where you're, like, grappling with what you are, and if, learning that, from different perspectives, that you are the villain and that you're just pawns and all that crap. There was, like, I had a Man of Steel vibe from this too, which then I thought was interesting. After the fact, I read that, that film inspired Chloe Zhao a lot for this. And I did get that general vibe, which was, like, it's so big and so crazy, and you're dealing with all these crazy ideas, and, like, didn't quite stick it, just like Man of Steel. But at least, they went for it. Like, I admire the effort in a world that's so routine and predictable. Oh, the other little thing about the expectations that surprised me was when Sprite went along with Icarus at the end. I was like, oh, that's so fucking predictable. He's going to be about to end things, and she's going to be the one that kills him, even though she's in love with him. And, and then she didn't. Like, she just stayed evil, and then she stabbed Gemma Chan. Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I was like, this is good. Because that really surprised me. And then it became terrible because they were just like, whatever, it's okay, Sprite.
Well, that was the worst. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that she literally just stabbed you.
Yeah.
And it's like, now these magical powers that I have, I'm making.
We all make mistakes.
That was fucking brutal. That was brutal.
That was bad. But I liked that twist. I liked Chloe Zhao's visual direction. I think, from what I can tell, I haven't seen her earlier films, but I saw Nomadland, which I liked. I thought that was a really good, small film. I didn't think it was Best Picture worthy, but I thought it was very good and very beautifully shot. She has a very, like, natural, almost documentary style to her visuals, and I thought I saw a lot of that here. I like that her camera is almost always moving, at least even a little bit. There's very few, I mean, honestly, if any, like, static shots where it's just locked off, or, just very, like, there's always a little push in or a little tilts to the side. And I think that's really pretty. She obviously does a lot with, like, really pretty natural sets. It seemed like a lot of these sets were natural and real. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of, like, outdoor stuff, which is one of my biggest gripes, when you can clearly tell that someone's standing on a cliff and it's so fake. It's like, just go to a fucking, like, your budget's $250 million, get on a plane. So I like that. I think she gets a little, this is super condescending, but just like, just because you shoot, I do this all the time in my stuff, just because you shoot the sun directly and you get a flare, does not mean, not every shot has to have that.
That's what. Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, if you're a young cinematographer, just shoot the sun. Just shoot the sun. Shoot into the sun, and you figured it out.
Do this. Get a
little lens flare. You're good.
Get some pretty good colors in there.
There you go. Yeah.
You're gonna win an Oscar.
God forbid you throw it in slow motion. Woo!
Yeah.
You're fucking.
That's literally 85% of my skill set.
Yeah. You point the camera at the sun, you'll be fine. There it is. Expose properly.
Yeah. So I thought that was good.
Yeah.
The end. One of the biggest misses to me was the humor. I think literally almost every punchline did not land. I thought it was a almost painfully unfunny film. And unfunny because it was clearly trying to be funny in some spots. And even very talented funny people like Kumail, I thought a lot of his things didn't land. Some did. Some were funny. I really liked the little stupid back and forth about
Kingo, the movie star. I've directed some things too.
like, oh yeah, what you mostly internet content.
Yeah.
How many views? I don't do it for the views. You know, like that stuff. That little back and forth was funny. I liked his valet, the cherubic Indian dude that was with them for a while. I thought he had some funny parts. But most of the comedy just did not land at all.
Yeah.
And then I thought like, okay, maybe that's not one of Chloe's strengths, is writing comedy, because they were very predictable lines.
You know what's never saved the planet? Your sarcasm.
And literally the whole theater was quiet. I mean, we went to a matinee where there wasn't that many people, but like you know, the joke lands, you just hear like and that was the whole movie. It was like no one's laughing at this.
Yeah.
How long were you together?
5,000 years.
I guess you can call that long term.
I also Kumail, is that, I'm probably butchering people's names. Kumail, is that how you...
Kumail Nanjiani, I think. Yeah.
I like him a lot. I was a big fan of The Big Sick. I enjoyed that movie a lot. I like his work. I think he's very funny. I wish he had more to do too. I wish I could have. I wish I could have got to know all of them more, but I wish he had more to do, other than his one note of I'm going to do a documentary, and then he bails on the like. At no point is it like, what purpose does he serve? What purpose is his character?
That's the problem. That's the problem with that subversion of expectations. Is that like he was the most likable, relatable character in a lot of ways, and you introduced a lot of things around him, and then he's just gone.
Yeah,
he's like
he's
that's.
He seemed very, but I really did. I liked his performance. I felt like he gave an air of confidence that I appreciated, like a subtle confidence, an understated confidence, and he looked good. Like he looked the part. Like I wish there was more from him. I don't blame him for it. I just wish there was more for him to do.
Just real quickly, I thought one of the most memorable parts of the film was just a real quick little 10-second scene, but when that deviant was, when they were fighting in the South American jungle camp, when the deviant was like smashing his head on the ground and he was trying to like shoot with his eyes, and it just kept, like it stayed there for longer than you would think it would. And you know, he was really fighting to get up. That was like a flash of just like brilliant filmmaking. It's like, oh, I feel very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like I feel this.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
I agreed. I did like that moment.
Oh, well, we got to talk about the end credits stuff.
Okay. Get me Mahershala Ali. Get me Mahershala Ali.
He's there.
No, he's not there.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. I want to see his face. I want to see him walk out of the shadow.
It's a tease, Keith.
Nope. Give me a silhouette. Give me just walking out of the shadows, just enough to see a little bit. I want to see him. I was sad. I got excited because I'm excited for Blade. I love Mahershala Ali. I'm pumped.
I'm not excited.
I'm excited. But fuck.
PG-13 Blade, there is nothing to be excited about there. I'm sorry. I love Mahershala Ali. I really love Blade, but not as a PG-13 character. That is just not a thing.
Give it time. I just wanted to see him. I wanted to see him.
Okay.
Big Harry Styles fan?
No, I don't really care. You know, he's a good-looking guy. He was in Dunkirk. He was a pretty solid actor. I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll suit this role, which is, I guess, supposed to just be like the ultimate seducer. Like,
is that I don't know the.
Yeah, I watched like the Screen Crush. Shout out to Screen Crush. That guy does some really good recap videos. And yeah, he explained that Eros is the guy's name, and like his power is basically just like women want to fuck him. So like, perfect. Because again, we got to the end of that film and the credits hit, and I was sitting next to Monique, and she was like visibly angry and said, "I'm actually mad. This is a waste of time. Like I haven't felt this way about a movie in a long time, where I'm just mad. We shouldn't, like, so stupid. And she's like, I'm not making this up. She literally was like, I don't want to see, like, won't be seeing that sequel. And then she's like, oh, there's post-credit scenes? Great. Got to sit here for another fucking, it's already been 3 hours. And so we sit there, and then it comes on, and that scene starts happening. And then he walks out, and she's literally like, whoop, and she's like, I can't wait to see the second one. Like, she's so excited. She's so excited. So I was like, well, they know what they're doing, because it's going to bring in a whole new level of
a
Marvel
whole
fandom.
audience. Yeah.
So whatever. I don't care. But I will say, like, I know this is my classic gripe. CGI in this movie is largely poor, but those fucking deviants are awful. But none was worse than that troll at the end that showed up with Harry Styles.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, did they spend 3 hours on the design of that character and the execution? It looked so fake. It looked so fake and awful. And poor Patton Oswalt, like, just fucking make it Patton, like, do Thanos. Do what you did with Thanos, but do it small and put it on that. Like, you have the capability. That literally looked like a movie from, like, 2001, our best efforts to, like, make this completely computerized creature. It looked like the Clifford the Red Dog from the trailer I saw, with its fucking clearly fake, horrible special effects. I just thought that was so distracting. Like, I was literally just like this, and it kind of overwhelmed anything that happened after that with Harry Styles. I was like, show that fucking troll again, because that is the worst thing I have ever seen CGI-wise. I can't believe you would put that into a film. Like, I cannot believe somebody watched that and was like, perfect, can't be better than that. It had to have been a last-minute throw-in that they were like, okay, let's just do it. It'll be fun. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was not good.
Really bad.
It was not good.
We're not going to have clips to show. If you haven't seen it, it's fucking terrible. So, in closing, unless you can think of anything else, I just think, however you feel about this film, 48% is far too low. I mean, it is. People are coming for it a little too hard. If you think that this movie is worse than both those Thor movies and both the Ant-Man movies and fucking Captain Marvel and Black Widow and Shang-Chi, like, all those movies, in my opinion, are worse than this movie. And there's probably some others. A lot of people don't like Iron Man 2 or 3, or, like, they went for it, and I'm happy somebody went for it, because I think that's the best we're going to get out of Marvel for the next, this is my prediction. Phase 5, the fucking bottom falls out, and we get some bad movies that are fucking crazy convoluted and stupid. And then they're going to do phase 6 because they're making just enough money to, like, justify continuing to make these films, and they don't want to, like, just stop making them mid-story because that's going to look stupid and embarrass everybody. And then maybe in phase 6, they're just like, fuck it, let's just let people tell some crazy stories. And then we get some, like, amazingly weird, one-off here and there movies. And this movie at least tried to be a little different. So kudos for trying to introduce some variety and interesting topics into the MCU. You did not stick the landing, but you tried. You tried.
I think you give this film a little bit too much credit.
I just feel like I'm being pretty insulting.
No, I'm not. You're not being insulting enough. It's not. I can't overlook. There's so much I can't overlook. There are some bright spots in the film, but from an overall, when I look at the whole picture, I'm disappointed, and I think we're already here at the bottom. I think we're here at the bottom. I'm very, very interested to see how Spider-Man and Doctor Strange go, because I believe those are the two next up, and I think they're related to one another. Like, obviously Doctor Strange is in Spider-Man, like, so I think it's. Yeah. I'm also intrigued by Doctor Strange because I believe that's going to be, like, more of a horror movie, and that's what I thought going into this next phase 4, right? Going into phase 4. This is phase 4 currently.
This is phase 4.
Going into phase 4, that's what I thought the next evolution of these films are. We go, fuck this. It's not superhero movies. There is no such thing as superhero movies now. We're just exploring genres. Mm-hmm. And hearing that, like, Doctor Strange is going to be like a horror movie, is like, okay, just Doctor Strange is in a horror movie now. There's going to be more.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thor Ragnarok.
It's like that's what Fox did a little bit with like Logan, you know, making a movie that's not really a superhero
it's
movie.
not superhero movies anymore.
The New Mutants, which I never saw, but that was
I don't think it did
horror-esque film, you know.
But that's, I believe that's the creative approach. That's to me that's how these things continue to grow and evolve. Is they become, we just lose the sight of the fact that they're superhero movies and they're just characters that we know in new genres. They know, they morph genres, they meld genres. That's exciting. This film doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And none of these films are doing that. And that's what I think the right thing to do is. So I'm curious to see these next two films to see how they play out. But I've already blown the candle out. Do you want me to do the candle thing again?
No, candle's good.
Okay.
I'll just say this: I'm gonna do a cross section. I should have done this before the episode. I'm gonna do a cross section of like prominent critics who shat on this movie and dragged this movie, but echoed that bullshit about Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat and those movies just being mindless, stupid fun. What a
It's
great
fun
time. It's so refreshing to get out of our houses and go see a stupid big movie. And then a movie like this that is also not great, but at least is trying. It's like we're penalizing the film. Like, how dare you try to tell something different? I know that's not the only criticism, okay? I know that's not why people don't like it, but there's some energy of that here, because to me, if you were arguing that Godzilla vs. Kong or Mortal Kombat was like good summer brainless fun, and you gave it a fucking thumbs up, and you give this movie a thumbs down, and you say, wow, how stupid and nonsensical was that, you are wrong. Like, you are incorrect. Like that is a bad take, and you should not be reviewing films, because that's like, just because it tried, like that annoys people, you know?
No, I just think I think it's the fucking story and how Marvel is force feeding and trying to get into the express lane of, here are these people, they're so great, you love them, right? Now 2 of them are dead. Okay, now keep going.
Yeah, no. It's Game of Thrones. It's literally the way Game of Thrones was at the end.
We're that's the problem. That's the problem.
We're all just fucking playing music on the deck of the Titanic here, trying to like cram as much as we can before it just completely crashes. And Marvel's just like, okay, we're taking a break from that. Here's the X-Men, you know? Like we're starting over with the X-Men.
It's just, that's what I think is the biggest problem. Because this film could have been great. This should have been 3 films. 2 films. Should have been a series. You know? Let it be The Mandalorian.
Anything else? I feel like our endings weren't strong.
Yeah. Oh,
I feel like it's your fault.
You're the funny one. You're the funny one. You got the jokes. Hold on. Let me just do this again. Ev.